place kept from the public eye. You've likely never heard of it, despite its long history and size.
One of the largest cemeteries in the United States with nearly 1 million burials.
Almost 1 million people buried here since the 1800s. The poor, homeless, stillborn children, and bodies not claimed by anyone on just over 100 acres. Hart Island, a piece of land just off of Manhattan. This is as close as we can get to the island with a news camera. This is a dock where ferries transporting bodies, inmates, and occasional visitors depart from. After a variety of uses, from a prison to a psychiatric ward to a hospital, the place has been ran by the prison system, making the cemetery more reminiscent of a jail where inmates bury up to 1,500 bodies a year. Burials for those the city takes care of take place in mass graves here. Inmates dig 10 feet deep trenches at 50 cents per hour.
The adults that are buried out there are primarily homeless. They are people that are generally forgotten and ignored by society.
Photographer Ian Ference was able to get these images by reaching the island in secret on a handmade boat.
The most striking thing when we first landed and hid our boat about 4 in the morning was that we almost stumbled into an open burial. We stepped out onto some plywood and then realized that the plywood was covering coffins.
Controlled by the city's Department of Correction, the location is difficult to access, and visits, if any, are strictly regulated.
I had a live child, and she's gone, and I have no control over going to a cemetery to visit her.
Former Navy Commander Elaine Joseph's 5-day-old baby girl died 36 years ago. At 23, all by herself, while the grieving mother was trying to figure out funeral arrangements, she found out that her child had already been buried by the city.
The people are not properly informed in the hospitals as to what it means to allow the city to take care of it.
Elaine was given a death certificate with no indication of where her daughter ended up. The search for her child's grave went on for decades.
She was 5 days old. I had nursed her. She was my daughter, and I wasn't just about to throw her away. I would like to go to walk to my daughter's grave and be able to have some final closing.
But getting closure has been a struggle. So far, Elaine has been able to come to a gazebo on the island following ID checks after permission from prison system officials.
If this were a private cemetery, it would be very clear under the law that you had to allow visits to the actual graves. Because it's a public cemetery, the specific law that requires access does not apply.
Filmmaker, author, and founder of the Hart Island Project, Melinda Hunt, works with women like Elaine to have the island be made into a public park.
It's inappropriate to expect the public or someone who's lost a child to have to contact the Department of Correction to make arrangements to visit Hart Island and then not to be able to go to an actual grave site.
Hi, this is Mark Taylor from Rankin & Taylor.
Lawyer Mark Taylor works with the grieving mothers pro bono.
Many of them did not subsequently have children, so they have stillborn children who are buried out on the island, and for them, looking back in their life, it's something that has meaning and importance to them. Access to the graves is impossible because the graves are not marked.
They've lost records, lost graves. They're storing their own records out there under shoddy conditions. The Department of Corrections has not done a great job in maintaining this island as a part of the New York's cultural heritage or as a viable part of the prison system.
After a battle that's lasted years, 8 mothers, including Elaine, have recently been informed that they will be able to visit specific grave sites, still under strict regulations. But until the island stops being ran by those who run prisons, this place holding almost 1 million people will continue to treat those fighting for closure like inmates.
People don't throw their families away.
Anastasia Churkina, RT.